With the current trade war, tariffs, and the general climate of instability when it comes to the U.S. movement of freight, Baltimore's port managers, procurers, and inventory managers are unfortunately dealing with all the chaos on behalf of their organizations. This issue is important within the industry because instability reduces the port's ability to be as efficient. As a result, this could have a negative impact on companies and especially smaller businesses in Maryland like the local mom-and-pop suppliers that will be the first to feel the worst of shipping slowing down, arrivals dropping, inventory that can't replenish stably, and rising costs. This has real effect on how businesses plan, buy, and store goods every single day. Policies are being made to artificially inflate the cost of imports. In historical context of the past 10 years, this isn't the first time this approach has been deployed. In 2018, this has been implemented on Chinese imports. During this time, the Port of Baltimore experienced unpredictable traffic patterns from companies' procurers trying to avoid the tariffs and get their imports to store them before they hit. However, analysts say that this current iteration is going to be a dilemma for the whole supply chain compared to the end of the last decade. Whereas in 2018, most tariffs were 10 to 25%, now in 2025, they can range from 10% to 245%. In 2018, the main target was China, and today's U.S. trade tensions are mainly still with China, but more players are being targeted, such as our biggest trade partners. As you can imagine, international companies don't want to pay that sort of cost, so many freight shippers are either passing it to the consumer or rerouting away from America or outright canceling shipments and not importing certain freight at all to avoid tariffs. As a result of all of this, American ports in general might see a reduction in direct imports or a significant slowing of freight, especially due to the new port fees being imposed on Chinese-built ships. This will affect local businesses in Maryland reliant on deliveries being on schedule at the port or reliant on a just-in-time model. This, plus the rising costs, are causing huge obstacles for the industry's procurers who now must seek alternative suppliers or shipping methods who can quickly meet the same or similar standards. Procurers now must make decisions. Are we abandoning single sourcing for multiple sourcing strategies? Are we nearshoring or outsourcing to different countries? Should we make changes internally, like layoffs to survive costs? Furthermore, according to supply chain experts, inventory managers and storage workers of both big store chains and especially small businesses are going to potentially deal with the problem of being hit with waves of product shortages since the volume of products entering the U.S. ports has fallen 40%. Of course, this uncertainty is not good for workers in the industry. Workers have been facing layoffs due to a reduced flow of freight. If there is no freight, you don't need people to move it. What solutions are there for the Port of Baltimore procurers and inventory managers? Well, the port has the power to advocate for themselves politically as a major logistics hub. They can ask for subsidies in order to keep operations afloat and afford to keep as much as their logistics staff as possible, so they are not as economically harmed by the trade war either. U.S. procurers are taking action by rushing to get goods and products to their storage now before it becomes more expensive to ship, hence why the empty shelf or lack of inventory problem is projected to come in waves. Procurers can also do the company's needs identification to figure out what their most important products are and then engage in supplier search and supplier evaluation to figure out which suppliers are least vulnerable. Procurers can consider diversifying regions of suppliers and discussing mitigation strategies, or they can do the opposite and engage more in nearshoring for products that can be made in the U.S. Procurers can also utilize contract management to negotiate long-term protection with locked-in prices. Inventory managers are taking action by moving from just-in-time to just-in-case strategies due to the unpredictability. They are also utilizing tech for process control and demand forecasting to optimize inventory levels and manage their safety stock to provide a buffer against shipping delays, disruptions, or price hikes so they can still fulfill orders for their customers. If a warehouse doesn't already have it, inventory managers should consider implementing automation like AI to help accelerate quick decisions during a time where shipping rules are unforeseeable. What is the future outlook? The Port of Baltimore will still get lots of traffic from companies that want to sell to Americans and transport their product inland through Baltimore because it still has the advantage of being located closest to Middle America compared to any other port. However, other countries' ship lines and companies may be more wary about solidifying more long-term international partnerships. Procurers are going to have to learn from this era to always stay flexible and constantly learn new regulations as well as learn to use trade diversification strategies, and inventory managers are going to have to figure out how to manage for more long-term safety stock for the JIC strategy as well as implementing new technology solutions like AI. Thank you for watching.